Welcome to a new video. I'm Steph West. I'm an LPC here in the state of Michigan, and today I want to invite you into a little bit of a reframe. What if the very thing that causes you stress or frustration is actually going to be the launching point of a superpower for you? And so one of the things, if you follow along in my podcast, Healing Through Pain, you're welcome to follow me there, or if you watch the YouTube series, or if you work with me clinically, one of the things that I share very freely is my brain has a specific organizational pattern called OCD. OCD, or obsessive compulsive disorder, is a way that the brain organizes when it grows up. So when a person grows up in a situation of chaos, sometimes the brain will organize in a hyper rigid way. And my brain has done that. And so I've had OCD tendencies for most of my formative years. It's actually why I'm a killer dancer, because I can keep rhythm really great. When I say killer dancer, that's not the collective opinion. Some people judge it. But either way, my brain very much has an OCD structure to it. Now, I was working with a mom last week, and I'm working with her son, who happens to be, 8, 9, 10 years old, and he also has organized in an OCD way. And she's saying to me, she says, I don't know what to do with that. He's a mess. He's broken. And she's not saying those words, but that's the sentiment that she's sharing with me. And I said to her, the thing that you're struggling with right now is going to be this kid's superpower in the future. Because of OCD, he's going to be detail-oriented. He's going to be a good threat analyzer. He's going to be able to project things down the road that might be an issue, and he's going to be able to come up with solutions because that's the way his brain works. I am so good at what I do because of my OCD tendencies. I am someone who's thorough, I'm detail-oriented, I'm going to be very predictable in what I do because of how my brain organizes. And so I can lament and I can be frustrated and say, oh, I resent my brain. Why does it have to be so rigid? And why does it have to have such issues? And the reality is I'm in therapy myself so that OCD doesn't monopolize all parts of my life. But it is the launching point for some really cool idiosyncrasies that I have, things that are to my benefit, things that have professionally helped me out. I'm thorough, I'm thoughtful, I can, analyze threat and I can prepare for it. Do I over prepare for it? Sure, but that's one of the costs of being me. And so I want you to think through, do you have rampant anxiety running? I had a client earlier today who came in and she said, I had this big project that I completed and the entire time I was stressing about it. Okay, but what if you were cavalier? What if you didn't care? Do you think that your clients would have had worse outcomes? They would have had a worse byproduct if you just were indifferent? But you care. And for you, caring shows up by way of anxiety, and it keeps you locked in, and it keeps you accountable, and it keeps you really checked in on your task, and you do great work because the anxiety propels you in really innovative directions. And so we can lament that there's anxiety, and what we really want to do is we want to bracket it and say, now anxiety doesn't make sense in all contexts. For me, OCD doesn't make sense in all contexts, but it certainly provides me with strengths that are uniquely me. Her anxiety certainly provides her with strengths that are uniquely her. And maybe you're going through a season of even something like depression. What if you significantly understand someone else's struggle because you understand what it's like to struggle? What if that's your superpower? What if that's the way you can contribute to the world around you? So we have to be really careful crafting a narrative that our deficits, and I'm using that in quotes, our deficits are not in and of themselves a bad thing. How we think about them can vary. We can see the limitations that come with them. We can build skills. We can manage the anxiety of it, but we can also see them as a launching point for some really cool things about us. I'm significantly better at what I do because for 25 years, I've walked the path of being a little bit filled with idiosyncrasies and quirks, but that's what OCD has done in my life. It's had some drawbacks, but it has given me profound opportunities to hone really cool skills that vocationally are really good for me. Now, it's one of those things where long-term, I do want to rein it in and I do want to have it under a little bit of control. But by and large, I use it, I harness its power, and I use it for good. And you can do that with anxiety. You can do that with depression. You can do that in a whole host of ways. So be careful about writing the narrative that just because something is somewhat bothersome for you, or just because something has maybe culturally had a stigma attached to it, it's not in and of itself a bad thing. I want you to consider, what might this issue be, the issue that you're confronting or struggling? How might it be part of your superpower?